Hello legends, welcome. Hope everyone's doing good. I'm doing something a bit different for you today. So this is what I hope to be the first of many over-explained Havoc 40 runs. So this will be part of my Learn With Me series, and essentially I will just play with low in-game volume, a Havoc 40 clear, maybe talk about positioning, talk about decision making as we go through. I hope this to be useful to people looking to push into the harder difficulties, but I think the thing to start off with is this is very much how I and how the group I play with choose to approach games, right? I think compared to some of the gameplay I've seen from others, we're maybe a bit more considered and a bit more methodical about how we do things. That's just how we enjoy it, right? We like the teamwork aspect, so we lean into that quite hard. But this run is a Magistrati Oubliette. What a fantastic word. Bonus fact, Oubliette actually means a dungeon, which can be accessed through a hatch in the ceiling, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure why I know that. A little bit concerning, isn't it? Anyway, we move on. But yeah, we're on Oobs. The modifiers are Blight and Cranial Corruption. Just to start with, guys, the modifiers. So Blight is an absolute pain in the ass, yeah? It's one of the worst mods in the game, just from a purely fun perspective. What it means is essentially when you kill a Blight-tainted enemy, a mob, it just spews out Nurgle's gifts onto the floor, so a Blight puddle appears, and I think the puddle lasts for, I think something like 17, 18 seconds, which is a fucking hell of a long time when you consider that this spreads. Yeah, delightful. So to combat this, we have brought Zaki on a stim pack hive scum. So Zaki is running a quick stim pack, so this will have 1, maybe 2 nodes max. And the intention here is just he can dump that repeatedly, not for the buff, although it's nice to have, but for the anti-corruption properties, yeah? So he is our answer to Blights. We also have Cranial Corruption. Cranial essentially infects a bunch of mobs with a disgusting head parasite. Seriously, guys, I think I have a couple of pictures in my Discord of what this looks like. It is gross, right? But what it seems to do is have a sleeper modifier in which it seems to increase the number of Reapers that spawn in a map. When you get Cranial, you seem to get a shitload of Reapers as well. In addition, if you headshot a cranial corrupted enemy, it explodes, yeeting you and your fellow brave brothers into oblivion occasionally. Just as a fact, this also gets triggered by kinetic flare from Psychers, so it's going off quite often. Just be aware of that. I mean, we have some rather interesting runs where our vet decided to run a Hellbore into Cranial, and honestly, if you're playing melee, that is like, it's almost toxic. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, enough about the modifiers. The team comp we have here is we have, as mentioned, Zaki on a stim pack scum. He's our answer to Blight. We have Gala on a burn Psyker with Shriek. He's our answer to bloody everything. We have Robbie Keg on a Shout Vet. He's really just here to pick specials, to stab stuff with a power sword, which is fucking strong, boys. And also to provide gold toughness for us, which is lovely. And I'm playing a Skitarii with Voltaic Emitter, with the Medicae Servo Skull, and with Power Overload. Okay. There is a little build section in this, which I will let play, but look, this is the first one I'm doing of this, so if the sound balance is off, please give me some comments and feedback. And if this is clunky as fuck, which it probably will be, bear with me. I'm sure it'll get better. All right, let's go. Right, just while the loadout is sort of on the screen here, I do want to call out that I was never really a huge lover of the Arc-Maul, but it's a weapon that has very much grown on me. One of the reasons is well, firstly, I like unique weapons to the class, right? They have lots of fluff, lots of flavor, and the Arc-Maul's a pretty cool one, yeah? I'm going to turn the volume down a tiny bit, guys, just in case it's a little too loud. But I will say that running the Arc-Maul with the Hammer Blow Blessing is an absolute game changer for how this feels, especially when you fight the number of elites like Rages, Maulers, all that kind of stuff that you get in a Havoc 40 game. Highly recommend running it with Hammer Blow just to try it, right? For me, this is probably the setup that I'll use going forward. Just to skip the loading and to, I guess, respect people's time and my own, let's just get us towards where we drop. Okay. And there is a prime example of the cranial explosion. And like I said before, cranial seems to impact the number of reapers that spawn on the map. Look, I'm not someone who's, and I'm never going to be someone that dives into the source code in a game, but I've spent far too many hours in 40s playing these modifiers, so I'll give you my opinion, say your mileage may vary. Now, just a pause here, right? So Zaki's thrown a Tox nade, which are incredibly strong grenades in this game. And he's thrown it into a choke point here. And just to explain, look, it seems... I don't know if anyone here has played Deep Rock Galactic, but the engineer has a platform gun, which you can put a bug repellent mod on it. The most direct route here would be for a mob to come and just walk straight through if we're stood behind the Tox. But because the Tox effect is on the ground, the mobs seem to treat it as like extended distance, so they will actively path around your AoE effect. So throwing it in choke points and making sure you cover the entire choke point here is a very, very effective way to use a nade. All right?
Yeah, that was not great.
Scheiße, ja.
Personally, Maulers. Oh, the
Alright, so just on there, right? Tox nades on the ground, bursters coming. I should just backed up. The nades will detonate bursters pretty rapidly, so that's just silly by me. However, ladies and gents, I do want to call out how we're positioned here. If I just go forward a little bit, you can see we have a wave of elites coming towards us, and we're all positioned just behind the choke point. We're using this. This allows us to make sure that we can essentially have cover from nets. If someone throws a firebomb, you know, those bloody firebomb bastards, right? We can back up quite easily. And the main thing is that holding either side of it is absolutely fine, but we're together, right? Use your choke points, position together as a team.
Oh, the nade. I forgot about the nade, man. Okay. And now he speaks to laugh at us.
So you can see immediately, with the exception of Robbie, who is on his way to us, we had a spawn trigger for a chaos spawn, and because a firebomb had landed here, rather than hold a choke point we can't really advance into, we have pulled back to the next one. All right, literally just try and pick the best ground that you can to take the fights.
Okay, so
And what I'm doing there with the phosphor pistol is just stacking burn onto the chaos spawn. But in this composition, with cracks from the vet, with the damage the Skitarii can put out, and also a Tox scum, we put out a lot of monster damage, alright?
I'm not gonna lie, Keg, I forgot that this little corner here existed until you just walked on. Completely. Be quite useful.
And again here, we can hear a pack of elites from our right-hand side. So you can see the team is conscious of where we're fighting. Yeah, we're holding where we are, put out as much damage as you can, but then, if we need to, just pull back slightly. Give ourselves a chance to dodge nets, to fight in a choke point, eh?
Fire.
more fire.
And a tip to the newer players, you need to be looking behind you. If it's not you, someone or someone's in the team need to be keeping an eye on your six, right? Mobs just spawn out of thin air here, and it's the game director's deep... I'm going to rephrase how I was going to say that. One of his, should we say, hidden desires to spawn things like nets and disablers and DPS specials behind you.
Oh. God, that is a bold move, man.
Yeah, it is, right? I saw the smoke and went for it.
So just as a call out, Gala and whoever that was on the left-hand side, they shouldn't be there, right? They should be on the right-hand side in cover. It's just a far better place to fight in position. But, you know, as long as it works, all's well that ends well.
No, don't.
I got it.
He was low health.
Note, sir.
Thank you.
I can cut the guns up. So let's just take space in.
So just to pause here for a second, guys. Where we're stood is actually a real dangerous place. And how you approach this next section is very much dependent on what's in front of you and what's behind you, right? Ideally, perfect world, we get down off this little walkway and we fight in the tunnel just at the back bit, just behind me, bottom left corner here. And the reason I say this is, honestly, the number of times we've been pushed back from this little walkway just because there's a lot of gunfire ahead of us, and then you get gassed out or you get burnt out by a firebomber. It's a very uncomfortable place to be. In an ideal world, we get off this this walkway and into the main tunnel, and we fight there. Also worth calling out, I'm running Emitter, so I can disable guns and essentially give us a level of safety so that we can move. This ability is cracked. I'm a huge fan of it. Highly recommend people play around. It's not as strong as Claw. It's not as simple to use as Claw, but it can be, from a strategic perspective, a really strong one. A big boon to your team, definitely.
Nothing.
So here, I popped Emitter. All these Reapers, absolutely useless, right? All they're going to do is try and move away from us until their guns start functioning again.
All bust.
Wasn't
So I will call out here, look, in this situation, I'm not sure why Zaki is pushed. There was a spawn trigger for a plague, and someone detonated a fire barrel in front of him. I'm just going to pause a sec. You can see here he's just gone down. Yeah, there's just literally no need to push there. We should have stayed at the back as a team and fought. Also, keep in mind your role, boys and girls. If you are playing a utility class, for example, it's a blight map like this is, you're playing the Stimpack scum, you need to live, right? The value you add is beyond the scoreboard at the end of the game, right? Focus on living, keep providing the value. A team win is a win for you, right? Now, I will say there are certain playstyles that take that to the extreme, and maybe you start then falling off and losing some value. However, in this instance, yeah, we should just stay together. We need the blight resistance that Zark gives us.
This fire fucked me in a way that I...
I'm not sure why you push, bro. Ballers. Oh.
Hey.
Fire.
You can see here we're in a very dangerous situation. There is blight everywhere. I ate a few silly plague overheads there, but it is what it is, you know. But there's a lot of elites here. We need to really make sure that we're together and we do our best to keep staggering the elites and making sure that we don't eat an overhead.
Fire. We have no stim pack,
We have no... nothing.
Yeah, this is a big problem for us. As you can see here, it's a blight map, guys. So every green mob that you see, you can see the blight that's on the floor there. Look at my health bar. Look at how much corruption damage I took from this. But in that instance, what I did here was just to try and take a bit of space. So we were trapped in a corner, there was blight on the floor, there's now fire on the floor. Just push out of it. If you need to, push.
Fucking hell. Just squelching.
Very eloquently put. Just squelching indeed.
Yeah, you don't want to go.
Oh no.
He's ahead though. We can get him.
I really don't know if that barrel was on purpose or not. Stop popping barrels, please.
I love Zark to pieces, but he's complaining about the barrel. It doesn't really matter who detonated it, even though I know Keg knows. He should have been closer to us. And we have twins, so this is where the Medicaid service girl comes in handy. I've sent it out, but really, I don't want to leave him alone. So what I've tried to do is pull the elites towards us, just so he has a bit of breathing room to get away.
I'm popping that barrel, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So with elites, right, elites with twins, right? We have a melee twin who is, in this case, Sigrid. She is dangerous, guys. She does decent AoE damage. She's quick. She can charge like a little Naruto ninja and cover distance very quickly. One of the reasons you pull back, if it's appropriate when you see twins, is to separate the two, right? Because you have Sigrid here who came sprinting through, like I say, like a ninja from Naruto with her arms behind her back. What we don't want is we don't want Sigrid and Harold stacked on top of each other. The reason being is, well, twofold. One, Harold throws mines, which makes the floor a very dangerous place. Like the floor becomes lava. You have to be aware for that. And secondly, they both have shields, right? And the beauty of the twin shield is it doesn't have a damage cap, unlike the typical captains. So you can just lay on a shitload of damage, pop the shield, and then just annihilate the twin quickly. This has become even more so apparent with the introduction of the Skitarii, because obviously you have the claw, which, let's be honest now, is just a fucking overtuned ability. It does too much damage too quickly for its uptime. But you can basically 100 to 0 a twin very, very, very quickly. So like I was saying, so the reason you want to pull back a little bit when the twins spawn is firstly just to give you a bit more space to fight. Like, look how much shit is on the way. We have crushers, bulwarks, all sorts of shit on the way, right? But mainly to separate the two twins, right? We want to pile as much damage on the melee twin first and foremost as we can, and then we can deal with the rest, yeah?
Oh, he's shot me straight in.
3 seconds and I have another one.
Please.
Oh.
Sniper was.
There's a sniper ahead. It's quite a dangerous mob to have aiming down this because there's no cover for us to use, right? However, a bit of dodging, give your vet some time, give anyone some time just to pop it.
Take that ammo, Maz.
I'm slightly concerned at how long this video is going to be and how much talking I'm going to have done by the end of it. Like I say, this will be the first one. I'll work out a better way of doing it. Please do give me your feedback, people. It just helps me crystallize the thoughts, right? Helps me make things better.
Jesus.
Any double writs?
Nah, no Ritz, man. Taking Swiss.
Wow, no writs.
I'm just going to cover it because Gala just mentioned it, right? So normally, if you're playing a Heinous Rituals map, this area here, you can normally get 1 right here, or sometimes 2, or with the recent patches that Fat Shark have deployed, you can sometimes get double writs, so 2 writs stacked on top of each other. This can be quite a dangerous place, but my view here, essentially, this where we've just dropped here is probably the best place to hold, right? The reason being is we have cover from the shooters that typically line the walkways on the left-hand side, and you can sort of like, I say safely in inverted commas, but safely push bursters using these boxes. Again, we hold here because there's cover, but obviously, you know, it's a small area. There's no way to escape. You can get ledged just behind me where I'm stood here, and on the right-hand side, so we need to be careful, right? Firebombers, tox bombers means that we have to move if they screw up our hold point, but this is one of the better holds in this zone.
No
Oh, I
Ritz.
forgot.
Just
I
Blight,
forgot.
brother. Just Blight.
Oh, for some.
All right, again, bloody hell, I'm going to do lots of stopping and starting, right? Maybe I talk too much. Again, let me know if I do. Ahead of us, what we have, right? So there's a little ramp that leads down and there's a med station just here. If we're in a situation where we are like we are, I have 1 wound, right? Ideally, we get some healing and then we come back and hold. Now, the reason I say get some healing and come back and hold is this is a defined trigger point. So when you step to the top of these stairs or you go down them slightly, it's not exactly clear exactly where it is, right? The bosses will spawn. And here you can get 1 or 2. And essentially, you don't want to be fighting just in front of the med station even, right? Because you have very little cover and mobs line the top and they just shoot down at you. like I say, fighting back here is better, but that's the trigger. The question we have to answer is, do we want to push for healing and trip the trigger? Or do we trip the trigger and let the bosses come to us? Let's see what we do.
For some reason I was so used to.
I'm gonna pop that barrel, guys. Oh,
Just as a good bit of advice, look, unless you're planning to use a barrel strategically to burn mobs or stagger a boss, something like that, just get rid of them. Yeah, obviously not with your teammates stood next to them, eh? I'm looking at you, Galahad. But you're better off getting rid of a barrel than being surprised by its presence later on down the line when you're fighting and stressed out, eh?
rough, innit? How clear is it? Oh my, the guns.
You see the guns lying in the top? Yeah, that's a problem, eh?
I can disable them. I'm gonna try and get myself some healing.
Yeah. So, triggers here. And there it is. Spawn and a captain. So I'm going to grab some healing just for myself, just so I'm not on one wound. So if I go down, I can still be recovered. And then we pull back.
Stuck. Okay.
Spawn captain, yeah? PC.
Just as a little tip, if you're playing in a comp with a book zeal, this is a fantastic place to be ledging bosses, right? Just because everything behind us is completely open. Now that's a blessing and a curse. You can also be ledged, but you can also just send the bosses into the void.
He's on me.
What?
Fire. I'm being hugged in fire.
You can see how we're trying to pussyfoot around this tiny, tiny hull point.
Kill on you.
Oh, now has become untenable because of the fire. However, it does give us a little bit of cover. I've also been telling you boys lies. I said that Keg was using cracks. It looks like he's using smokes.
Maybe this map is fucked, you know?
No, mate. This is an us issue. I don't think it's the map. Yeah. Oh my days. Why is your sword?
Just watch out for sword captains. Okay, they are by far the more dangerous variant of the captain. But also, when their shield pops, it can ledge you, right? It sends you flying. I'm not sure why. It seems excessive in my mind that they they yeet you 20 meters when the shield goes, but hey ho, it is what it is. Just beware. Position yourself with something behind your back or away from ledges, yeah?
Nicely done. First coming. That's been tagged up.
I really think you should have those health bars mods for at least for the bursters.
You think?
Yeah,
I don't
at
know.
least for the bursters.
I just don't like the clutter on the screen, bro.
Yes,
go
that's
on,
why
take.
maybe only for
There's
bursters.
so many shotgunners on you, boys.
Oh. Where are they? On the stairs?
Right side, there.
Alright. On the way.
Because for bursters it's important.
Just while we clear some little shit bit shooters and stuff like that, right? Just want to mention about the build I'm playing, and I guess the play style I'm trying to play to maximize it. So I have power overload, which means that every time the team or anyone in coherency, including me, kills either 30 trash mobs or 15 elite mobs.
Nice.
So basically when I hit 30 stacks down here, see that, 26,
I'm doing a ridiculous
I release a small electricity explosion, and I give everyone around me, I mean, I need to check the numbers, but something like 15 or 20% toughness damage reduction, actual damage, which is fantastic, but also replenishing 20% toughness and 20% stamina to the team. When you start playing at the higher levels and you start becoming comfortable with surviving, I say that again with inverted commas, eh? But you don't find yourself going down to the silly stuff, you know?
Oh, I'm dead. Pepper from the middle.
Stamina
Fire.
is incredibly useful, right? You can use it to block, you can use it to get reses, all that kind of stuff. I will just pause it there. And we have another situation here where, look, we just straight started out of position. We should hold together. There's no problem as fighting a bit fragmented, but because of its blight, there's firebombers everywhere. This is just a bit unfortunate. If he's positioned here, we can essentially make sure with a simple dodge that we don't get netted.
Oh, I'm still in Blight resing you. That was dumb.
Robbie's just gone and grabbed him.
Stuck my health in.
Full med station ahead, I'm sure.
Just one charge.
Lower ahead.
Genuinely.
Excellent.
Ow. Oh my god.
But yeah, sorry, I sort of trailed off there, eh? When it comes down to the build and the class that I'm playing, so I'm playing Skitarii. I deal some pretty good damage. I have decent clear. I have strong damage into pretty much all targets, just the nature of the arc maul and the activated attack. But because I'm vomiting out team buffs pretty frequently, like keep an eye at the bottom here. Keep an eye on how quickly I hit 30 stacks, especially during intense moments of combat. I want to be positioned, and also, in addition, I want the team to be positioned in good coherency, right? Just so I can maximize the value that I'm bringing to them.
Take what you need.
There's a little one over.
I'm good.
Mate, that net was shot vertically up. I don't know if you always saw.
I'm sorry, what? It's not on my screen.
Sometimes Darktide bullshit happens. You just gotta roll with it.
Daddy on the
Some
way.
baddies
And
coming
again, just while it's a little bit quieter,
up. Oh lord.
mindset, right? Mindset in this game is as important as mechanical skill once you have your foundations down. Because you will get netted, you will get dogged, you will face bullshit. I mean, you get thrown off a map by a fucking spawn just because the game says that's what's happening to you. You can mitigate some of this with game knowledge, better positioning, and honestly player skill, but you can't negate it. You will get hit by bullshit. You need to make sure you don't tilt yourself, right? And this is, I think, one of the key things is when you're playing with other people that want to coordinate, that will actually actively have your back, it makes it so much better because the mental side of things, the load becomes less, if that makes sense. Eh?
Keg holding his power sword in the air.
So just on this next part, the way that we tend to like to approach this is you see the drop that's currently on screen, just the right-hand side. I prefer taking that side. I am not a big fan of dropping here and just face tanking all the gunners. I mean, yes, the argument could be made. You can pick all the gunners and then move on, but more just spawns, eh? And often there's a shitload of snipers that can spawn in the little railings and walkways that are ahead. We tend to take the bottom right route, just because I personally think it's safer. So essentially what we're doing is we're just thinning out the hordes, clearing what we can. We'll then utilize whatever healing's left, and then we'll drop and we'll move on.
Alright, shall we? Burst behind, I got.
When it comes to bursters, this is one point I really do want to get across, because there are a couple of priority enemies, things like trappers, which can just fuck you up, dogs to an extent, but bursters have the potential to wreck you and wreck the team. Throw into the mix that they're also some of the buggiest enemies and sometimes refuse to get pushed. They are like probably the top threat. So if there's a burster, if you are able to, fucking claim ownership, eh? Like seriously, even if it goes wrong, I'd much rather my brother to my left or my right see a burster and then say I'm taking it so I can stop worrying about it. The worst thing that can happen is a burster just fucking is ignored by everyone and just destroys everyone. That happens. Try to mitigate that. Take ownership for the bursters.
Dropping. Reaper.
So you can see we've dropped down. Just as a quick call out here, mob, this is a spawn door right ahead of us. So while we're fighting here and trying to clear ahead of us, we do need to be aware that this is a spawn door. So mobs and enemies and stuff can spawn there.
Oh, green as well.
And again, we're talking here over-explained Havoc. Green stims. So in fact, let me just pause. Stims in general, right? Typically, the most useful stims, your green stims, they should be used to clear wounds unless you're, you know, in those situations where you just need any hit of healing. Save them for people who have wounds, right? So green stims are dead important. Yellow stims, lemon stims, they're concentration stims. They increase your ultimate or your ability recharge rate. Really useful for things like chorus alerts, for shout vets, anything really. Even Skitarii with Voltaic is a yellow stim is always nice to have. And then lastly, you have a red stim, which gives you a shitload of strength and a shitload of armor piercing or rending, as it's called in this game. Excellent on something like a Burn Psyker, who has incredible AoE damage and damage full stop, but suffers a little bit with the armor damage modifier into things like carapace and all that kind of stuff, right? So try and utilize and maximize these stims, but the key thing is save your green stim for wounds, okay?
Reaper up.
Yeah, I was just trying to stun him.
So you can see with my positioning, what I'm doing here is essentially I'm pushing just to use the emitter, just to try and shut down some guns and obviously get some damage off. This creates little windows of breathing space for my team to follow up and obviously to output some damage. But I think when it comes to positioning, guys, it's like we're not just holding W key and we're not just turtling at the back. There's like an ebb and flow to Darktide, and how you play, how your team plays, even with randoms, you'll get a feel for it the more you play. But really, it's lots of pushing, pulling back, pushing, pulling back, right? And so we've just got a med kit in that crate, which is fantastic. We have a med station just ahead around the corner. In addition, just to talk about triggers, I'll expand on it when we get a bit closer, but there is a there is a trigger ahead of us when we get into that room, about halfway, maybe 3/4 into that room. So we're keeping that in our minds as we go.
Alright, should we build the good habits then, eh? Should we just start moving to right side?
Maybe.
Well, it's too late now. It was when we walked in here it all went wrong.
Well. Here's a red.
What I've mentioned with good habits is essentially, if you play rituals on this map, if you come into this room, what can happen is there's 2 ritual spawn points ahead of you, right? Just coming into this room till about halfway can often trigger both of the rituals. So this is one where you may hear people talk about bugged writs. This is one where a ritual would trigger. What's the best way to fucking explain this? Basically, it triggers and it starts the bar starts filling up far faster than it should, just because, unfortunately, I don't know why the fucking room's bugged. Positioning is slightly fucked here. So if you take right side, it's just a little bit safer. Plus, it doesn't trigger the bugged writ. At least it doesn't, to my experience, okay?
If you don't have writs.
Right, there was a time, I think it's from the time that Zark and I used to play with Y2 a lot. We would never go left side, always went this side.
Yeah.
Just out of superstition. The fucking wall is worse.
That's it.
Got you.
When your teammates are netted or dogged or anything like this, your priority should be to free them, all right? It takes literally no time at all. Not fighting the mobs around them. Obviously push and stagger the mobs if you can to stop your teammate eating hits, but free your damn teammates, right? You see this in lower difficulties and with newer players where someone's in a net and they're just like, they're killing every single trash mob in a 2-mile radius. Don't do that. Free your teammate. You're stronger with 4 than you are with 3. Oh, just in addition as well, dogs on Blight maps. If a dog pounces you in Havoc, it will always do some corruption damage to you anyway. If the dog is infected with Blight, if it's on a teammate, don't kill it. push it, right? If you can. Now, the reason I say that is because if you kill the dog that's currently humping your teammate's face, I apologize for that mental image. I let myself down there. But yeah, if the dog is doing that and it's blighted, if you kill it, you create a blight puddle directly underneath your teammate who's on the floor, who then has to sit through a 2-second animation of standing back up. The entire time he's taken corruption from the dog pounce, because that's just what they do, yay. And he's now bathing in a puddle of Nurgle's splooge, right? So please push the dogs to avoid corrupting the living shit out of your teammates. Less necessary when you have a Stimpack scum, but it's a good habit to get into.
Armor coming.
Sniper behind.
Yeah.
Bomber forward.
Berserker behind.
But no. Another blast up.
Oh!
Fire was fire. Oh.
Dog went by.
Dark, thank God for Stimpack, bro. I'm
Yeah.
squelching in your heart.
Yeah, it's pretty
Sounds-
useful, alright.
Sounds kind of sexual, isn't it?
I said over-explained, and maybe I'm not explaining as much as I should, but guys, it's a 40 to 50 minute video. I can't talk the entire way through that unless you really, really want me to. In this instance, what we're doing here is, so we have the med station ahead of us, and we're doing what's right. We're taking the side route just to provide us with some cover. Now, we do need to understand here, I'm just going to pause for a second. There's a door to my left-hand side. Mobs come through there. There are also mobs coming through the front, and they can jump over the wall behind me. So we are essentially pinning ourselves back into an area we can't escape from. However, this is probably the lesser of the two evils. We're confident in our ability to kill what's in front of us, and this way we don't get sniped and shot to absolute shit just standing in an open hallway.
Oh my.
But again, my advice to
Keep coming back. Keep coming back. Oh, never mind.
my advice to newer players who are playing in random matches, like with random people, pugs, that sort of stuff, you're always better off trying to ping a good place to move to, but if your team don't move with you, stay together. Always pick a fight in a bad place with your team than isolating yourself in a good place, in inverted commas.
It actually lets you deal with elite proper with a stagger. Both of us.
Shameless plug.
It's a big ammo here. Okay, I'm gonna take big.
Guys, I'm actually an introvert, believe it or not. I don't know why I started doing this YouTube malarkey, but strangely, it's been way more work than I expected, but it's pretty fun. I've also been lucky enough to create a space and to play with people just through random Havoc 40s, right? So everyone you see in this game, so Galahad, Zaki, and Grandmaster Big Bollocks himself, have all been found out in the wild, right? We started playing random Havoc 40s, recognized the fact that they're trying to play together and they were chill people, and then pulled them into something, in my mind, that is a better space, right? I have a Discord. You're welcome to join it. It's small, it's growing, all that kind of stuff. It's not everything I want it to be, but it's getting there. If you want to do more coordinated Darktide games, you're welcome to join up. Now, I'm just going to wait until I turn around. Okay, cool. So this section here, right? So this is actually what we have ahead of us is, I think it's just through this doorway / up these stairs. That's another trigger, and we've just tripped it, right? So what we've done here is we've intentionally gone forward, tripped the trigger. We have a captain and a spawn on the way to us, and we've now pulled back in here to fight. Again, we're using this as a choke point. If you fight ahead on the stairs, which you certainly can do, and we have done many times, just be aware that mobs can spawn behind you and they can spawn ahead of you. Could be slightly dangerous. Now, in this instance, they could still do the same thing, but we have a little bit more cover, just a little bit more safety from the stuff ahead of us.
There's a horde behind as well.
here?
You can see the target prioritization here, right? So because of the nature of the captains with their shields, they tend to be some of the tankiest targets to take down in that they just take fucking forever. Even with chain weapons to rip through the shield, all that kind of stuff, they still are tanky, right? And the fact that the shield explodes and sends you flying just adds to the time taken to kill them, right? Kill your monsters first. But I think that is a pretty much a good rule of thumb for 95, 99% of instances.
Right. Forwards.
But again, as we do these and we do more of them, and maybe they become a bit more polished and a bit more concise, because I shudder to think how long. 41 minutes, and there's still another 12 minutes of just gameplay coming. I'm going to stop talking here for a second and just go back a very, very small amount. Maybe that's too far. Let's hit play again. Alright, in this instance, we've cleared everything, and now we push. And we push together. Alright, see this doorway? Look how much stuff is on the way. That's a lot of stuff, yeah? So we have a load of shotgunners, and these guys are bloody dangerous. Some of the more dangerous mobs in the game. And sometimes it's luck of the draw. If they hit you with all the pellets in a shot, you're probably going down. It's just simple as, right? So we need to be using cover. We need to be using our abilities to shut their weapons down. We also have a shitload of maulers. So my first thought in this instance here is, good Christ, that's a lot of stuff. How do I delay the wave, stop it, reduce its threat with my abilities, and then maybe give a bit of ground, just so that we are essentially kiting this back. The entire time you pull back, you're dealing damage with range, you're stabbing the mobs with, in the vanguard, but also your burn psyker, if you have one, is just ripping through everything with Soul Place.
All the shotties and maulers.
But again, immediately, look how we're positioned at the doorway. Either side, right? We want that cover. And I've just taken a peek behind me, and I've seen a wave of trash plus a crusher. Guys, crushers, any mob that can one-shot your teammates is bloody dangerous. And there's a lot of stuff going on in Darktide. You cannot see it all. You don't have eyes in the back of your head, right? So if there's a fucking crusher behind your teammate, call that out. Even if it's just a ping, right? Help your teammates survive. They can't be aware of everything all the time. That's why there's 4 of us.
I say again, thank God for still back. I'd have like 1 HP.
I really want to try this with Rampage.
With Chax? Mate,
Yeah.
yes.
Red one gallon.
100%. But you know the build I have where I use the combat axe? I use the same build for chain axe.
Tactical barrel.
Burst behind. Oh, barrel.
Oh, sorry.
That was entirely my fault. I just lost my mind and just hit a barrel twice while I'm sitting next to it. See what I mean, guys? Shit happens. So just regarding the next section here, I mean, like, guys, just before we get there, imagine how much corruption damage we take there, or how much longer it would take to advance if we didn't have a stim pack scum. People argue that a beacon of purity zealot is comparable. It's not. Beacon is reactive. Stim pack corruption res is proactive. It allows us to move. Beacon only helps us mitigate what's already happened, hey? The bit I want to talk about here is just this archway. So again, another trigger point when we get through here. The next room ahead of us is completely open. It's not something you want to push into unless you're prepared and you're intending to really push, right? So our move here has to be to clear what's ahead of us. We're getting rid of that barrel early because it could be a problem. Trip the trigger and then hold in this room. And again, I think just to talk a bit more, I'm talking a bit more about the macro as we go through, but a little bit more about the micro, about the class that I'm playing. I'm really just trying to be an anchor here. I shit out buffs for the team, so
That's actually mad cinematic.
I got to be central. I'm there to support. I'm there to stagger. I'm there to deal damage wherever I can. Just to add to the movement here, so there was no trigger as we went through the door. And again, if I just pause a second, the triggers in the map aren't always 100%, right? There's a chance they'll trip to trigger a boss or multiple bosses, but it's not a 100% chance. No trigger, we push to the right side just to give us some cover, and then we advance together.
What's the word that you just used?
Big fan of Keg using enfilade or enfilade. I'm not sure how you say it. I know it's a French word, so I think the French word is enfilade, which, but yeah, big fan of that. I'm a words enjoyer. Haven't heard that in quite some years. So burst on the left-hand side. I'm holding the corner just to push it.
Oh,
I think it was going for me.
oh good man.
I think isn't it enfilade?
There we go. Debating pronunciation of words.
Reapers, boys, Reapers. Left side, left side. I haven't heard that word since like fucking. I was into like World War II shit, man. You know what I mean?
I'm now having some doubts as to maybe I've made the game sound too quiet. And maybe all you can hear is me ringing in your ears. If that's the case, I apologize. But again, tell me. I'll make it better next time. So, just for the next section, right? We have a med station up here. We're just trying to clear the room of all the ranged elites, the snipers, all that kind of stuff. And then once we drop down here, we will have a trigger. So the triggers, I think, drop down side to the right. We tend to hold the right side. I think it's probably the lesser of all the evils. You can get sort of messed up with all these little these barriers in the middle here. If you sit in the middle, you can sort of get gunned down. So we tend to hold the right-hand side. You'll see exactly where we go in a second.
Oh, actually, no, I didn't say that.
Oh, fuck school.
So again, we're popping the elites. We hold the healing just in case someone eats a sniper shot or gets hosed down by the guns below. And then when we're ready to essentially advance, we heal up and then we drop. I don't know if people have played Vermintide, but look, it's a cardinal sin to be left behind at a drop. Okay, so in my groups, we always do a ready check, or we at least call it out that we're dropping, and then get down. Like James Brown would say, get down. There is no reason... Oh. Okay, so just in that instance there, that burst that's walking towards us, I noticed that Zark A has his little needle in his hand, his needle pistol. And he's just tagged the living shit out of that burster. He didn't say anything, but I saw it. So it's in those instances you want to back up. If someone has dotted the crap out of a burster, try and get away from it.
Mate, good thing I saw the fucking model.
But again, ladies and gents, it's the positioning here. We're creating choke points wherever we can. A corner can be used as a pseudo choke point. Pushing a burster from behind a corner is far safer than doing it out in the open. Plus, I'm not going to get sniped or netted or anything like that if I'm holding a corner.
Yes.
Drop in.
Let's get out of here.
I was sure you'd all dropped and that was going to land on you there.
So you can see here, this is the area I was mentioning. This is typically where we hold just to deal with whatever comes from the trigger. You then have two options. You can then punch straight forward and get to safety, like progress the area, or we can hold here, we can kill what comes and then just shoot what's ahead.
If I was a chaos guy, I'd chase Gag too.
Just for the thrill?
Sniper somewhere? Okay. Fucking love these smokes, bro.
That makes a big difference.
Snipe.
You can see from the way that I'm playing, essentially what I'm doing here is frontlining, right? I'm in the thick of things, I'm in coherency with my teammates, and I'm trying to shut down dangerous threats, think shotgunners, think reapers and all that kind of stuff, with my Voltaic emitter ability.
The shock because you missed the shot on the
I
fucking
missed it twice, apparently. fucking jokes, mate.
Alright, nothing really much to add, but just do be aware that this lift, normally there's a welcoming party in there. I'm not sure why, but yeah, always seems to be mobs in there. Just be aware.
And a red gunner. There's a spare red here.
Yeah,
if anyone
please,
wants.
2 more muties. The 4 wasn't enough.
Alright, this next section can be one of the more dangerous parts of this mission. Alright? For lots of reasons. Number one, this is a very narrow area. Also, just to call out, this railing here, it gives you a false sense of security. It ends about where my cursor is, bottom left of the screen here. So you can get ledged there, as we have all found out, I'm sure. What that also means, though, if you have a book zealot and you have a spawn, a plague, something like that, you can ledge it there if you so choose. On ritual maps ahead, sometimes you can get a ritual just in that room or just ahead of you here. If all goes to absolute shit, you can also ledge the host there if you so need. But this section here, you can get shot. So mob spawn on the left-hand side here, up top, obviously ahead of you, and the room that we're trying to push to, lots of mobs spawn in there. It's a bloody firing line. Yeah, so just be careful. Take this bit slow, and I think the key thing is pop all the barrels before you get to them. This is a very easy area to ledge yourself or teammates. Try not to do that.
Don't have to say it twice.
Is that a host?
Oh my god, there's a crush behind us.
What the fuck?
So no one noticed that, but thank God we all somehow dodged it, slash, I don't know, just snaked out from the overhead there.
Jumped out my
Funny
chair there.
thing is, actually my block efficiency saved me there from getting
Bullshit, Gala, no it
Sure he
didn't.
did.
We
I'm sure he
don't
fucking did.
believe you, mate. We don't believe
It
you.
did. It blocked fucking an
So what we've done here is, again, sorry, I've not covered it, but where we just were, so if I pause about here, that's the trigger. So this typically will spawn 1 or 2 bosses, and they'll just run at you from ahead. So we're tripping the trigger. We don't really want to push too much because mobs keep dropping in from this room here. So we're going to wait for Kiartan to get towards us, and we're going to absolutely melt him.
Charge here. Nobody wants it, no?
It's all yours, brother. You make it rain. But can I please have
Yeah,
an
just as a
umbrella?
watch out. You see we all turn around there just to check. Again, Darktide be Darktide. Specials, especially bombers and the like, trappers can just spawn right behind you. So just do keep an eye on your 6.
That was so sketch.
It's one of those things that the longer you play this game will just become ingrained. You just keep checking behind you. We'll all do that like periodically, and we should catch most of what comes behind.
Bomber.
There's one. What a shot, I must say, but he's still through.
Oh, he's dying. Drop the shield. There you go.
No.
Oh, you see those barrels there, bloody hell.
They've been disabled.
Wait 2 seconds. Fucking bunny
The
hop there in
hops,
the
mate,
back.
the hops saved me. They didn't save me.
So again, we have a drop point here. We don't drop until we're all ready to go, basically, and until we think it's safe. Ideally, don't advance when there's an active wave of elites. If it's just trash, feel free to push. But the main thing is you move together as a team.
Sniper and dog.
Got it, got it. Bro, this art will be growing on me.
Alright, so ahead of us, as Arky's dropped, he should call that out. Yeah? I don't have eyes in the back of my head. I don't know what's ahead of me if I'm not facing that direction. Just talk to your teammates.
Lots of guns.
Ow.
Got a spare red on left.
Again, positioning slightly to the left, just to stay away from snipers, and again, creating a bit of a choke point.
Oh, I stood in so much blood.
Ah, fart.
Sorry, I was grabbed. I couldn't drop it.
So ahead of us, this room. It can be quite dangerous. It can be absolutely stacked with elites, with guns, with reapers, all that kind of stuff. We're actually quite lucky here. It's quite sparse. However, do this together. Do it slow.
Corruption res.
Yeah.
Might be what thunders come.
I'll never take it because it's like just don't stand in the blight forehead, right? But you take so much corruption in games, it might actually be worth, you know.
I really like using that 90% resist talent.
Yeah, but then you lose a talent, man.
Yeah, I know.
Feels bad, bro.
Oh,
It's just
sorry.
satisfying when a dog jumps on you and you take no corruption.
Just while we're waiting for the lift to go up and while we're chatting shit as we go. I hope everyone's surviving the heat wave here in the Northern Hemisphere. Thankfully in the UK, I mean, like, what? The date today is the 13th of July. Also, just for context, this game was recorded...
He's got this beautiful
Where is it?
fucking plasma gun skin.
Oh, the angle
There it
there.
is,
That was
on the
It's like
5th,
a
so
plasma
about
gun skin
a week
with
ago or
just
so.
a dangly little shit worm off it.
But yeah, it's finally getting just a little bit cooler, which, honestly, thank Odin. It's been tough. Guys, there's not a huge amount to add here. This is a really limp end event. This poor guy, Per Nag, he's just going to get minced. Fight him together, burn him down fast. But do be aware that things like gunners, elites can drop from both the top bits, left and right. But really, I mean, it's you just murk the boss and profit. It's a bit of a letdown. I do wish Fat Shark would do something to make some of these end events just
That's right.
a little bit more, I don't know, climactic, you know? And there we have it. A pretty... a pretty
Were you
clean
expecting
and
to get ledged, guys?
smooth clear.
No, I was trying to die. That was calculated.
I'll just let the game end and you can see the scoreboards, you can see performance.
Pink
And I'll pause it and just give some closing thoughts. So again, just to reiterate, look, I'm playing quite a supportive build. I could run, for example, flensing and up my own damage. I could run a different melee weapon, maybe the blades, and again, up my personal damage. But in the grand scheme of things, we've not done badly here. When you look at an end game scoreboard, the things I look at are obviously damage taken. You want that to be low. Number of downs, number of deaths. Again, that matters to me. Obviously, total damage is, you know, for Vermintide players, it's the green circle thing. It's nice to see, but I use this more as a measure of how a build performs, not how I perform in the context of the rest of my teammates, right? If I'm playing, for example, a Claw Skitarii, I expect to be doing more damage than the build I'm playing now, just by nature of it. If I'm playing a Book Zeal, I'll probably be doing slightly less damage than others. However, I don't want to be doing dramatically less damage than others, yeah? You can ignore your Burn Psyker because the class is just fucking broken, but hey-ho, we use what tools we have available to us. But the things I really do home in on, total elites, total specials, and then your boss damage. And again, sorry console players, but for the PC viewers out there, this is Ovenproof's scoreboard, although it's no longer being updated and handled by Ovenproof. There's like a community plugin version that I use. Highly recommend this just for tinkering and testing builds. Now, look, I hope that was useful. Like I say, I really do ask for some feedback on this. This is quite a fucking investment in time. I've been recording for just gone 1 hour. If this is useful, if there are tweaks, if there are optimizations that I can make, please tell me. It will definitely help shape the next ones. Also, if you hate it, tell me that too. Maybe try and say it nicely, but hey. All right. Take it easy, everyone. All the best.